you talk about this being sort of an alternate timeline. Is something on the DVD or Blu-ray that you examine? Even fans were really active in deconstructing sort of its logic and its all that stuff. Is that something that you guys examine or sort of define in concrete terms, at least for people who love the movie, who want to sort of understand where it fits?
There are elements in the special features and deleted scenes that address the storyline and the sort of logic of it. For example, one of the things that people had issues with was, oh, come on. Kirk is going to run into an ice cave, and he's going to run into Spock, like that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And granted, unlikely. But they're in the scene where they're in the cave, there was a sequence that is on the DVD that was cut from the movie where Spock speaks to them. And he talks about how this is sort of the timeline's way of trying to repair itself, and it's as much about fate as anything. And it's a funny thing, when we were working on the script, frankly, it was one of those moments where I was like, how in the name of God are you going to, how are we going to figure that out? And one of the genius moves that Alex and Bob did is they just did it. And they made it about inevitability. They made it about how Kirk and Spock, the movie's about this family that nothing will keep apart. And it's about that kind of friendship that is just, will endure anything. So there was a kind of genius in taking the most unlikely moment, a coincidence that I would never in a million years buy, and hang a huge lantern on it and say, that is fate working. And you just kind of go, all right. And so to me, it was one of those moments where I thought we could lose that definition that you now see on the video, because it really, in my mind, didn't need to be explained away, although I think people who've seen it, have said, oh, that was really good, though, because it helped explain why that unlikely thing happened. So I think that, for example, people might find that added thing filling in a piece that was missing.
Is that going to affect you when doing the sequel, as far as what you're going to leave in and what you're going to leave out? Do you think people are going to want more of an explanation in certain...
I mean, the trick in doing, obviously, any movie, but something like this, and maybe even especially something that involves some weird sort of alternate reality time travel thing, is you don't want to not explain it, but you don't want to explain everything. I mean, the fun of any movie, I think you have as much fun with the missing pieces as you do with the pieces you get. And so for me, not knowing every detail allows me to get inside of the story and to start to fill in the blanks. When everything is spoon-fed, typically I feel like you're being pandered to, or it's too expositional. So I think that it's always a balance. I don't know.
Gentlemen at the back, and then we'll come over to the side. Yeah. You answer that?
Oh,
Yeah.
How far ahead do you envision your involvement with the franchise? Like, is it a movie-by-movie basis, or do you see yourself kind of shepherding it for the foreseeable future?
It's a wonderfully optimistic question, and I appreciate it. The answer is obviously just movie to movie. The fact that we are now actively discussing the second film is surreal and very nice, and I'm thrilled, and I hope that results in something that is worthy of your time, but it's one of those things that you just don't know, and so to presume it's going to be a series that goes beyond those. Do we have ideas for a few movies? Have we discussed? Of course, you can't help but go, ooh, it'll be really cool. We could do this, we could set that up there. You throw those things around, but we can't presume that it's going to be anything more than now another film that we're lucky enough to get to do.
Yes.
I seem to recall a lecture you've given with Introduction. Oh, sorry. Emmanuel from Germany.
Welcome.
Thank you. I seem to recall a lecture you've given about soft parts of where you talked about your approach to narrative, construction, and storytelling. And you mentioned something that I think it was called the magic box concept. Can you talk about that and how it relates to Star Trek?
Sure. Sure. The mystery box it was this thing that I bought at a magic store that my grandfather used to take me to when I was young in New York, and they had this magic mystery box that was $15, and it's this box with a big sort of crazy question mark on it, and you don't know what you're getting. So you're spending $15 and you know you're getting what they claimed was, $50 worth of magic. And so it was, it was like $35 and you got $50 worth of magic. And my grandfather bought it for me, and I had this box, and I never opened it. And the reason I never opened it is because I just knew that whatever was inside of that box was far less intriguing than the idea of what was inside that box. And by keeping it closed and just having that mystery box sealed, it was just sort of, there was mystery, and inherently there was possibility, and inherently that was an exciting notion. If I'd opened that box the day I bought it, I would not remember it, and I would not even have thought of that. But by having it there, it allows for anything to be in that box, which is kind of fun. And I was actually asked to speak at this conference, the TED conference, and I didn't know what to talk about. And my producing partner, Brian Burke, said, "Why don't you talk about the box?" And I was like, "What?" And it occurred to me that there was this bizarre connection between this silly magic box that I had for years that remained unopened and the process of storytelling. Specifically to Star Trek, I will say that, I don't overtly go into a project and think, how can I apply the magic box theory to it? It's simply storytelling. In describing it in the TED talk that I gave was really about how every aspect of movie making seems to involve a mystery box. Everything from opening the computer screen to write something, and it's a blank screen, and it literally is this sort of box that is sort of asking to be filled with something of interest. And that sense of potential that it could be something great, that there's a mystery box there. When you go to a movie theater and the movie begins, it's this box, and you're going in to see this thing, and what is it going to be, and you don't quite know. And in those early moments of a movie, where the lights go down and the studio credits come up, it's that sense of full possibility. Anything could be contained in that box. The idea in storytelling is it can be literal, as in Pulp Fiction, where you just don't know what's in the box.